Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Kylie, and today I will be reviewing Halloween Resurrection, but first, I'm an idiot. Let's discuss. So if you haven't seen my trailer reaction yet for the new Never Hike in the Snow movie, the new fan-made Friday the 13th film, definitely go watch that. But one thing about that video that So after watching the trailer and seeing the date, it clearly says 10/13/2020, but I read it really fast and I wear glasses, okay? I'm a little bit visually impaired. One second. Here they are. They look like grandpa glasses, kind of. It's just my style, I guess. So when I was looking at the trailer and the little number came up, I was looking at it very quickly, okay? That was the first time I'd ever watched the trailer. Like, my eyes thought that it said December 13th, and so that's what I said, and then anyways, you get my point. I put a disclaimer at the top of my description anyways, but I'm just like embarrassed. So that's that, and then another thing before I start, if you haven't noticed, I'm shooting now on a 4K camera. Does it look different? Can you tell? Do you notice how much more crisp this image is? I'm excited. Okay, anyways, we are gonna get on with this review. So Resurrection came out in 2002 and received a whopping 11% on Rotten Tomatoes, and here's what happened. The original House of Horrors, the dilapidated home of infamous serial killer Michael Myers, has now become the set of a webcam reality show. But when the veteran slasher discovers that a group of university students has taken over his old killing grounds, he decides it's time to bring the Blades out of retirement. So I feel like this was a highly anticipated review because a lot of people really hate this movie and like it's so bad, so I'm sure that a bunch of people are just like, they just can't wait for me to roast this movie. But first, as I always do, I'm gonna get into my fun facts and then I'll get into my opinions about the movie. So several new endings of the film were written during production and 4 different endings were filmed, and so the cast and crew actually never knew like what the actual ending was going to be until they filmed those 4 endings. And then they obviously went with the trick-or-treat nonsense. John Carpenter has stated that this film made him cringe, and Jamie Lee Curtis says that she thinks this film is a joke. Actors Brent Chapman and Kyle Labine both starred in this movie, and they actually also starred in Freddy vs. Jason, the 2 of them, so they are the only 2 actors to star in a Freddy, Jason, and Michael movies. Stuntman Brad Loree played Michael Myers in this movie, and he was a lifetime fan of the Halloween franchise, and he did say that he would want to reprise his role as Michael had the series not been rebooted after this film. This is the only movie to establish Michael Myers' birth date, which is October 19th, 1957. Oh my god, a fire truck just is pulling down my street. Hello? I don't think there's a fire, but like, hope everyone's okay. Alright. So Jamie Lee Curtis appears on the cover of this movie with short hair, but in the movie she obviously has long hair. And finally, the director of this film was also the director of Halloween 2 in 1981, Rick Rosenthal. Which tangent, I don't understand in the slightest how you could make such a good sequel in 1981 and then produce this garbage. I mean, direct this whatever. I'll get into that. This is gonna be spoiler filled because this is just— oh no, an ambulance. Okay. Seriously hope everybody is alright. There are a lot of old people that live in my neighborhood though. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack about this movie. I don't know where to start. Let's just start, okay, I guess I should start where the movie starts, which is the death of Laurie Strode. Now this first sequence of the movie I actually really liked until Laurie died, because I was like, we're doing this again. Are we? Okay. You killed her off in part 4, and then you did it again. And it's like, I can understand Jamie Lee Curtis wanting to be written out of the series at this point, like she didn't want to reprise her role again, but I just feel like they should have released her from her contract, because I think she was contracted to be in the movie for at least like a 30-second cameo or something, but she just, I don't know, they just should have figured a way around that, and she just should have had like a normal cameo. I just think it's ridiculous to keep killing off Laurie Strode, because if Michael Myers can keep being brought back and stuff in all these crazy ways, and it's such a moneymaker, and like people are always gonna want more Halloween movies, it just seems ridiculous to kill her off. Now I know that it's what she wanted, it's kind of just like what had to be done, but whatever, I don't like it. And on that note, the fact that she didn't actually kill Michael in Halloween H2O just robbed me. It robbed me of the knowledge that there is a moment when Laurie gets to decapitate Michael, because I don't feel like that does Laurie's character justice. Granted, she's a very unlucky person and all this stuff always keeps happening to her, but like the fact that she killed an innocent man that was dressed up as Michael Michael, I'm just like, at this point, I would rather have some culty stuff happen to like bring Michael back from the dead or something, rather than having this happen. Rather than having Lori kill an innocent man and this mess. But that opening sequence was like the only enjoyable part of the movie? Yeah, actually, now that I say that, I'm sticking with it. That was the most enjoyable part of the movie. So now I guess let's talk about like the general vibes of the movie. So that opening section, the vibes felt good to me. They felt correct. I liked the color scheme. I liked the cinematography. The acting was obviously good. But then after that little intro, we get shifted into this like early 2000s cultural barf dimension. And what I mean by that is just the early 2000s threw up all over this movie. For God's sake, Tyra Banks is in this movie. Can you get any more early 2000s than that? I just like the music and the cheesy acting. Like, I feel like the early 2000s was one of the cheesiest eras for horror, honestly. And that's not to say there aren't gems, and like, it's also not to say that cheesy acting isn't great and really enjoyable sometimes, but it just felt like it really tarnished the Halloween name. Now, The Curse of Michael Myers, obviously part 6, had its issues, but at its core, it very much felt like a Halloween movie to me. This, again, just felt like the early 2000s took a big old, you know, on Halloween. Also, I mentioned Tyra Banks without mentioning Busta Rhymes. Why was okay, like, I don't want to talk about it. But let's break up the negativity here. I want to talk about Michael. I think that he did a really good job as Michael. He was a stuntman, and I feel like stuntmen are definitely designed to play Michael. It's definitely a bummer that this was the one that he had to play Michael in, but I thought he did a good job. Now, I've also seen that people really like the mask in this movie, and it's apparently because it's really similar to the original mask. But to me, the mask, like, at some points, it looked like there was black eyeliner around the eye holes. I didn't like it, but I don't know. I have only seen the movie one time, so. Anyways, on that topic of like stuntmen fitting in the role of Michael, I kind of want to take it back to Tyra and Busta Rhymes, because I don't know why celebrities can't mind the business that pays them. Busta Rhymes made music. Great. Why are you trying to act? Tyra Banks was so famous for being on America's Next Top Model, one of the most famous supermodels in the entire world. Just mind the business that pays you. Neither of them are professional actors. They did hardly anything else besides this movie. They were both weirdly in one other movie together, but I can't remember the name of it. And it's like they just see a paycheck and they're like, ooh, without considering like the cultural implications of like what Halloween is and like how to properly make a Halloween movie. I don't know. They were just like, ooh, paycheck, let me bring my bad acting into this movie. Maybe that's too harsh. That was really mean. Okay, I'm just not a fan of bad acting. I'm really not a fan of Tyra Banks. She's very fake to me. And I always appreciate when a movie can take cultural elements of what's happening at the time and like kind of shape the movie around a certain generation. However, this movie is just gonna age so poorly because there was so much 2000s vomit in the movie. Like all the music, Tyra Banks and Busta Rhymes, like oh, and the super like old weird cell phone things. It was a lot. And had it been done well with like tastefully bringing in elements of the early 2000s, I might have enjoyed it. But it just wasn't done tastefully, unfortunately. But then, okay, at the same time, if I'm making the argument that it didn't respectfully pay homage to the original Halloween and whatever, I'm not trying to say that like things shouldn't change. I don't think that movies should be made the same way forever. I think that gets so boring. See my critique of the Friday the 13th franchise if you'd like to know a little bit more about my thoughts on that. But I just think it has to be done tastefully, because at this point, when the series has been rebooted twice? No, this was the first like reboot, right? I don't really know if 4 through 6 count as like a reboot, because they did do Halloween 3 Season of the Witch and then continued that story. I'm not really sure. But at this point, you're mainly making the Halloween movies to like get the money from the fans that have been around. So it makes more sense to me to focus on paying homage to the original and doing things more in the style of the original. This is not to say that I think that they should recycle the same plot over and over and make boring characters and just do the same thing every time, which I don't think that the Halloween franchise does whatsoever. But this was just too much of an early 2000s mess. I'm being really repetitive. I don't have a lot to say about this movie just because I didn't enjoy it. I also don't like just having long rants talking about everything I don't like about something. I don't really feel like that's super productive, you know? So I'll just end this more ranty video talking about the final scene between Busta Rhymes and Michael, because I think I have to. Let's just watch like 10 seconds of it, okay?
Trick or treat, mother.
Okay, Alright, I don't know why I just decided to relive that, but okay, let's discuss. A trick that I've been taught in my creative writing classes when you're writing fiction: the first time that you write something, let your characters do the cliche and expected thing, and then upon rewrites, make them do the opposite of what's expected, but still make it believable. Now, in this final scene, Busta Rhymes certainly did what was unexpected, especially with that horrid one-liner. However, it really wasn't believable. This movie just kind of descended into a really cheesy, dumb mess. Like, it was kind of cool with the concept of the reality show and these teens being picked off one by Michael, but even that could have been executed a lot better. But then just the ending, I'm like, what were the other 3 endings that they shot, and how were they not better than that? I was really hoping that I wasn't gonna just like hop on a bandwagon and be like, yeah, this movie sucks, you guys were right. But you guys were right, okay? This movie is bad. I couldn't even really say it was like okay. Like, the only good thing about this movie was Laurie and Michael, and then like with Michael, the mask was kind of weird. I forgot to mention this, but the mask also kind of reminded me of oh my god, what does it remind me of? The new Chucky doll. The new Chucky doll from the movie that came out in 2017? 29? I don't even remember, dude. Time has lost all meaning for me. But his mask reminds me of the new Chucky doll too, and just like so much about this movie was off, mainly because I'm just not really a fan of the culture of the early 2000s, even though that's when I literally grew up. Parts of early 2000s culture are pretty elite, like we got Britney Spears and stuff like that, but most of the early 2000s, especially with like fashion and just the way that characters were written for movies, is such a mess. So I'm not really surprised that I didn't like it. But I think I'm done with my very negative rant. I did want to be able to enjoy this movie, I just didn't. But such is life sometimes. It's a big franchise, there are bound to be some stinkers. And on that note, next week, I will be reviewing the Rob Zombie remake of Halloween, and I'm scared. One of my subscribers requested that I do a reaction video to the Halloween movie, so like let me know if you're interested in me doing that rather than just a traditional review. Or maybe I'll just add some clips of my reaction and then do like a full review afterwards. She just is very convinced that I'm gonna have some very hilarious like what the hell faces and like horrified faces, you know, because I do have a very expressive face, this is true. So let me know if you're interested in that, but I'm gonna wrap it up here. As always, feel free to follow me on social media. My Letterboxd account, my Twitter account, and my Instagram account are all at Kai Johns. And if you follow me on Instagram, you would know that I recently went to the thrift store. I picked up 14 new movies, and so my next collection video is gonna be really big. I have like 26 new movies to show you guys for my collection, so I thought that was gonna be coming out this Friday, but the movies that I ordered on Depop still haven't come yet, so hopefully that's coming next week, but I'm really excited about that. So I post a lot of different horror news on my Instagram as well as whatever I'm watching so that you guys can watch it too in case I do a review of it in the near future. And then Letterboxd is where I talk about movies that I don't really intend on talking about on this channel. Also, I do have a vlog channel and I just post my travels and whatnot over there. I recently went to the Stanley Hotel in Colorado. That was super sick. Oh, the ambulance is leaving. I do not know what's going on. But as always, check out the petitions and the GoFundMes link down below. I update those every week. I hope that you enjoyed this video and I hope I catch you in the next one. Bye!